Well, hello, I'm Wayne Maguire and welcome to Property Success New Zealand, where each week I bring to you the real estate experts and they share their knowledge and their insights. And on this week's show we have Andy, who is back with us from the New Zealand Herald, and he'll talk to us about the carousel feature and local, national and international marketing reach. Our expert of the week is the CEO of realestate.co.nz, Brendan Skipper, with his insights into what's happening today online. And Pat from Property Press with research on where people are currently choosing to buy. And we're back on the streets again with a live mic asking for your questions on real estate in New Zealand. That's all on Property Success New Zealand today. Well, joining us again is Andy. Andy, great having you back on the show.
Thanks, mate.
And Andy, I think today we're going to just pick on something which people are familiar with, but they may not be familiar with the name of it, and it is the carousel. And I'm talking about here with the Herald Online. So I think once you explain it, people will go, yes, I've got it. But the carousel, can you just introduce that to us?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the last couple of years, the Herald Online, we've launched a number of units now. Actually, we've got 4 carousel units that exist in the online space of the nzherald.co.nz website. Now, in a short answer, the carousel is basically what it says in the name. It is a carouseling ad unit.
Yep.
A couple of key things to know about this unit. They are what we call fixed tenancy ad units. So with most online advertising, you have advertising spaces which have different ads that cycle in and out of those spaces depending on what the criteria of the campaign is.
Okay, yep.
These carousel units are what we call fixed tenancies, so they're in that space all the time. They don't ever cycle in and out, which is a really key consideration, particularly when we're talking about a kind of niche industry audience like real estate. What that's meant is people have been able to identify them as kind of destination points. They can go looking for where these carousel units are now.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so if you saw it there last time, you'll find it there again.
It's exactly the same place again.
Yeah. Which, sorry, and that can be the frustration online, isn't it? You see something, it disappears, and you're like, wow, okay.
Well, I see this all the time. I'll have clients that will run online campaigns, and they'll come to me saying, well, I can't see it, I can't find it. That's usually because it's cycled in and out with a retail ad or a hospitality ad or whatever else is running within that section. Yep. But these carousel units, they do exist there all the time, so they do have very strong, dedicated audiences. Now, we have 3 residential real estate carousels that run on the Herald website now. We also have one that runs under our commercial property banner, True Commercial, in the business section of the website as well. Now, the short answer for these kind of units is they are a differentiation from the kind of online proposition that you have or have had in the past for real estate.
Which becomes the question, doesn't it? Because we've already got online real estate, and look, those guys with those facilities do a great job. But then this is going to be different again, yeah?
Yeah, it is. It kind of couples into the strength of the Herald audience that we have and the strength of some of the propositions that we have within the print environment as well. One of the key things being is that they're not in any way filtered audiences that are accessing these carousel units.
So just explain that to us.
So, as you said, look, the kind of online propositions that you have for real estate at the moment, they are very necessary parts of the research phase of buying real estate and the buyer cycle. What these carousel units and these audiences enable is that it can be a very broad spectrum, broad brushstroke, a lot like you get with a lot of the print propositions, because you're not accessing an audience based on searching on certain criteria. So people aren't searching on a suburb.
Key point.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not searching on a number of bedrooms, a number of bathrooms, a cost proposition. They are seeing whatever comes up on that carousel unit in front of them. And the really key part of that proposition is that it ideally will allow people to make an emotional connection with the property before they start ticking certain boxes.
And then they'll click on and they'll click through to the website, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. And it does lead back into the listing page on the website of whichever agency carousel you are utilising at the time, which means that they can then access the gallery of images that they would normally see, all the additional information about the property and the proposition that it is, agent details, and can enable inquiry at that point as well. So, I mean, it is, it's very tied into the other kind of environments that you exist in. Again, that's one of the beautiful things about the online environment. It's very usable platforms. They're very referable. You can always link to certain environments that you've utilised and refer it to other traffic destinations as well.
Fantastic. So it all does mesh in. Down here, we would all be very familiar with the one where somebody goes in and searches, so they're very active as they go. Here, you're sitting in front of a wider audience. They're passive. They don't know they're looking for it. but you're in front of them, and the minute it catches their eye on the Herald Online, they click and then they come back in here, which holds all the data and images.
Absolutely, and I think you've actually used a very, very good term there, the minute it catches your eye, because they do catch your eye.
Yep.
They are units that automatically rotate. So you can imagine when you're sitting in an online environment, sort of really engaged with the content piece, you're reading a story that you really are interested in, you're spending a significant amount of time on that page. If you've got an ad unit that's constantly moving in the corner of your eye, it's a very, very big ask not to look over at that
Not
ad
to
unit
see it and go
from time to time.
to go click.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And the beautiful thing about these ad units as well is they don't take traffic completely away from that carousel. So whenever you click on a unit, a listing within that unit, it opens up a new tab with the listing page on the agency website. But the carousel itself still stays there, so people will go back to it and continue to interact. Okay. We do provide reporting with these campaigns held on these units as well. So they normally detail a very obvious kind of metric around that, which is click-throughs to the listing page itself. But we also look at interactions with the unit on the site itself. Two very sort of important points to that is it does give you an idea that the audience is engaged with these units, but it also allows the vendors and the agents themselves to look at the conversion from interactions to clicks. Yep. One of the things with these carousel units is, as I say, they're slightly different to the kind of existing online propositions that you have with the criteria-based search platforms. Those platforms tend to use a gallery of images, whereas these carousels rely on a single image.
Just a single image coming through.
Absolutely. So it's really important to make sure that the proposition is effectively communicated in that single image. Now, whether that's a beautiful family home that would be a great proposition to raise a family in, or whether it's a really good investment opportunity that you can do up and on sell, it's important that is communicated within that image. And often I've had this in the past where some agents may not have even realised what the image that was up on that
which
unit
one was up there.
Yeah, because they're so used to existing with a gallery of 15 to 18.
15 to 20 odd photos sitting in there.
Which is a great way to sort of tell a story about a proposition to market, but you really want to make sure that when you're using differentiated platforms, whether it's in the print environment or the online environment, that you've clearly clearly refined and defined how you're communicating that story and that proposition.
So we've got a great facility there. It works extremely well. It links into what the vendor already has sitting there, but also the agent needs to be smart about what they do. So isn't that interesting? And you'll see the images there going through showing the carousel. If the agent isn't putting that in front of you as a vendor, you need to talk to them, and certainly if you're an agent watching, you need to pick up with this. It complements what you're doing already. I think we're also going to have a chat later in the program, Andy. That is fascinating. So thank you very much for that information on the carousel. Thank you. All right, well, joining us now is Brendan. Brendan is the CEO of realestate.co.nz. Brendan, thank you so much for coming in and joining us. I think everybody's going to be familiar with realestate.co.nz, and obviously then we're going to be talking about online and online reach. Maybe if we start with traffic, if I can call it that, what's the traffic you're now seeing? Where are people coming from that are paying attention to our New Zealand properties?
Yeah, well, over the last certainly 10 years since the emergence of online, and especially in the classified space, we've seen a real steady growth. In the last 5 years, that's just expedited. Yep. So what we're seeing is just huge growth, especially in the mobile space now, and also from overseas as well. So a lot of people are sort of looking at New Zealand as a good country to invest in or move back to from an expat point of view. And so we're seeing a good amount of overseas traffic as well.
Is there any, and I'm interested because I see some trends in the market with buyers right now that have started to disappear from the market. Have you seen any overseas markets where the traffic has gone down?
Yeah, certainly from an Asian market point of view. So those Asian countries, we have seen a sort of a plateauing of traffic coming on there. You know, whether we're looking at sort of, the effects of the new regulations coming in for overseas buyers, etc. But it certainly hasn't got the momentum that it was 2 years ago. especially in the Auckland market.
Yeah, fantastic. And that's exactly what we're seeing with buyers who are active in the market, that has just, certainly crept back as it is gone. Now, so if we're getting that reach and we're getting those overseas people looking back in, I guess there's a mix of expats in there also?
Yeah, certainly, especially from the Australian market, UK market, also the States, and parts of Asia as well, where people that have gone over there, made a little bit of money and coming back into the New Zealand market.
Yep. And if we're now thinking about as a seller presenting our properties, your thoughts on that? What should we be thinking about when we're doing an online strategy, an online campaign?
Well, I think there's a couple of things, and it's relatively straightforward in terms of making sure that you're presenting the house as best as possible, and obviously your agent will give you great advice on that.
Yep.
But also remembering to have a look at your own property online and make sure that you're engaged with it, etc.
Yeah.
And that's as a lot of agents and sellers especially, it's the first thing I tell them. Make sure that they actually have a look at their listing online, make sure that they're comfortable with how it's presented and how it reads.
Look, I think that's a great point. We would reinforce that with people to double check. And then I guess you could also check your competition through your bracketing and through your searches, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you also have to look at what tools are available to you online. I always use the analogy of Google. What do you look at Google in terms of a search result? And a lot of online platforms now offer a promotional upgrade where you can get it to the top of search. And if you think about your own behaviour online, adopt that when you're actually listing your property, or obviously positioning a vendor's property as well.
I know you've got great products there that achieve that. Is the message getting through to clients? What's the uptake as you go through?
Yeah, well, we're seeing a great amount of uptake now, and especially in the last sort of 2 years, we've been putting a push onto that it's really important to promote your online listings as much as it is to promote them in print, or good signboards, window cards, etc. So, we're an important part of the marketing mix, and it's make sure that there's a good level of investment that matches that.
And I've experienced that as your team has come out to our offices and our teams and across our networks so that the agents understand what is there. And I think that's constant reinforcing, isn't it? So that they keep that top of mind, and then they can make sure their clients know about that. So you've seen an improvement in that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, good uptake in that. And I think it comes down to an understanding, again, reinforcing, go have a look at your listing yourself. Think about your own behaviour online and what you look at and what you see and how you interact with those listings.
Fantastic, Brendan. I think those are great points, and obviously here's a facility that gets that message out and can get your property out to those buyers. Certainly those expats, we're seeing that, and we have seen one market drop slightly, but we'll just watch the other markets with their reach and people taking up. And I think for the agents, as they're looking in, they need to be experts with this so their clients don't miss out on what's available. Brendan, fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wayne.
Cheers. But let's get underway now, buyers. In your hands, Ellerslie Auction. Opening bidder offer. Where would you like your auction to start, buyers? 620, happy to take your 620. You take 10s right from the word go. At $620,000 now from the front row. I've got it now, 620. Look for your rise on that. Take your $10,000 bid now. First call at $620,000. Boy, you caught the phone hopping, didn't you? Straight in there. Good bid. At $620,000 now. See if the phone catches up. Always harder on the phone. Takes a long time for them to appreciate what's happening. Relay and get the bid back up. Looking for your rise on that at $620,000 now. Front row has it. I call us away. First call at $620,000. Second call at $620,000. Are we all done? All silent? Look for your bid there, John. I need to know what we're doing on the phone. Maybe take a 5, get you into the bidding now. At $620, I've got it here. But I'll call us away for a $5,000 bid. First call at $620. Second call. Third and final. All done, all silent. Oh, nice and easy. They're napping. I pause straight away. So I won't vend a bid, no problem at all. I'll pause with your bid, sir. We'll step off to one side. You'll have a chance to improve your bid, and at the same time, I'll talk to our owners. Buyers, just give us a moment. We'll step off to one side. We'll come back shortly, but we do pause at $620,000. Thank you. Well, thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for the work that we have done there. Happy to confirm we have an improved bid. We'll just confirm that now in public, as discussed. $642,500. Thank you very much. It's $642,500. Janice, what are my instructions? What do we do? Here we go. We're on the market. We're now looking to sell away. I look away to the phone bidder now, but let's be very clear there. $642,500 on the market, selling away. Call 3 times, no delay there. At $642,500. First call, selling away. Second call, third and final. We all done, all silent. We are going. We sell away. Congratulations, well done. Congratulations to our owner also. Well done, Janice, or well done, John. All right, so there we go. That was great fun, and a single bidder auction, and quite often a vendor will become anxious if we've only got one buyer. Well, that's what you normally have on a sale anyway, so we're happy with that. If I've got a property with 10 buyers on, 6 buyers on, I'm still trying to work out who the highest bidder is. With one buyer, I know who I'm dealing with right from the start. So typically we do them the way we just did. I'll invite their opening bid, normally pause on their bid if it's pretty fair, and then step off to one side and negotiate. And you saw on that one, $620,000 opening bid, paused with that, and then stepped off and came back only a few minutes later really at $642,500. A level at which the buyer was happy they could get to that with a bit of a push, and a level at which the vendor was happy to take. So straight back in, no further bids on that one, and then we sold it under the hammer. The other buyer that was lurking in the wings was a phone bidder, and I'd always say if you're at an auction and you're wanting to secure it, don't be the phone bidder. It is so difficult. You lose connection with the room, you lose the dialogue that's going on, and I think your brain just ticks away and saying something I don't quite connect and I'm worried about what's going on. It's unusual for the phone bidder to be successful. So in that situation, a great sale and certainly a happy purchaser and a very, very happy vendor who was on the phone at the other end of New Zealand. So there we go, another auction just to demonstrate something different again. Well, joining us again is Pat. Welcome back, Pat.
Thanks, Wayne.
Pleasure having you here each time. And Pat, I think if we can pick up on where we were last time, we were talking about supply and demand levels. That was very interesting, especially when we looked at those gaps, and in particular with the main centres. If we go back into that research, does it help us understand where people are looking to buy?
Well, Wayne, there's 2 answers to that question. The first is people looking to buy property to live in. And the second answer is very common, people buying property as a residential investment.
Okay, so we're going to separate and we're going to say owner-occupiers or investors.
The results are interestingly different. To deal with the people looking for property to live in, the majority will always look in the area they live in now. It's a homing instinct we have. But this new research, though, is interestingly showing there's a trend to look outside the areas people are living in now. People are contemplating, especially Auckland people, are contemplating actually shifting out of Auckland. Now, we can look at that in the context that 11% of people employed in New Zealand work from home.
Okay.
So
this is interesting.
Yeah, in the traditional model, you would try and get a residential property near where you work. But it's decreasing in its requirement. For example, our little team at Property Press, for example, we've got 3 people that work full-time from home.
Wow, okay.
So you can work for an Auckland company, say, and live in Thames. You could work for a Dunedin company and live at Outram. It's not important to live close by your employment.
Boy, that's a big change, isn't it? That's
Yep.
interesting. And through the research, you're now analysing that and seeing that is
Yep.
part of what's coming through.
We're seeing Auckland residents or Auckland employed people looking to live in Tauranga.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's the change.
Yep.
As far as residential investments go, the standout to us, which is surprising, but you'll see it on the graph, is Wellington. People are looking to Wellington as a residential investment, probably because the capital investment hasn't gone up as much, or required capital investment as it has in some other areas, and I think it's really due to go up. And so people are looking for the better yields that they get from a lower capital input in Wellington. So that's the outstanding one, which you'll see on the graph.
Which, when you say outstanding, it is seriously outstanding.
It's really
it sticks
prominent,
out,
isn't it?
obviously.
Yeah.
It is such a difference.
Behind that, there's Auckland, northern suburbs, eastern suburbs, i.e. being the Far East, Howick, Pakuranga area, and Waitakere area.
Yep.
Auckland Isthmus, I think, is getting too expensive as a residential investment.
It's not good news for my patch, is it? But
As a
getting
residential
further out,
investment,
it's good.
yes, it is. The yield's higher,
Yep.
and we'll talk about yield in a minute, but
Yep.
and then followed by Waikato and Tauranga, which I think most people know are very active for
Yep.
residential investors.
Yep. And we're hearing those stories coming back from those regions also, aren't we? You know, real estate
Absolutely,
agents down
yeah.
there talking about the influx of the Auckland buyer.
Yep. And there's upward movement in the values simply because the demand is increasing. So it's a very interesting change in dynamic.
Fantastic. Look, I think what that is then showing is what we're hearing in the market is supported by your research.
Yep.
So people now, a change in the ability to work in one area, live in another,
Yep.
and the change in the thinking that it's now not it's not an investment property I need to drive past every day. We have it within my neighbourhood. It can be, in fact, in a different city. And you're saying Wellington's the main.
Too right. That's Wellington certainly stands out in the research as the place that people are focused on right now for residential investment.
Fantastic. Well, there you go, Wellington. Great news for you and Waikato and Tauranga, but I think those regions already know that. Pat, again, thank you very much. I love the way the research supports what we see out there. Thank you.
My pleasure. Lovely to be here, Wayne.
Thank you. Well, welcome back, Andy. This time, could we just go a little bit deeper on the marketing mix, and if we talk maybe local, national and international. Your thoughts there, Andy?
Yeah, well, started with an easy one there, Wayne. So it's an interesting conversation, I think, now, looking at the aspects of kind of regional or area focus with the marketing mix. You know, there was a bit of a saying in past years that local buys local and things like that.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I don't really think that's very true anymore. And the more that we have some really exceptional market forces in play, particularly in the Auckland market within real estate at the moment, the more that we have a really sort of broad spectrum adoption of online environments and things like that, and the more that we simply have a greater movement of bodies internationally, it's really important to make sure that there is an aspect of coverage of those facets of marketing within the marketing mix.
Getting wider. So a vendor now is not just advertising in their neighbourhood or within their local area. It's wider now, yeah?
I think it's not just wider. You know, the aspects of sort of fairly localised or geocentric targeting, as we would call it.
Yep.
They're still very important,
Okay.
but I think it's equally as important to make sure that you are getting a reasonable amount of coverage within differentiated environments from a national perspective,
Yep.
and also from an international perspective. So, I mean, one of the great things about a greater adoption of online environments is that they do, in most cases, give you an aspect of international coverage through just a certain percentage of audience that would be coming from
Just
international
dials up.
markets.
Yep.
You know, so I know within a lot of the online environments that we utilise for real estate at the Herald, we have anywhere between sort of 28 to 31% international audience within those environments.
Those are big numbers.
It really is.
Yeah.
And we've got some great anecdotal examples from people within the industry saying how you know, someone that had seen a property or a proposition in that environment that they weren't looking at before. We are increasingly dealing with some very sort of specific targeting around international markets as well. You know, we've talked before about the fact that some of the Asian markets are dropping in terms of online traffic.
Yep.
But the UK, the US, Canada, Hong Kong in particular within those Asian markets, that is still very strong. Australia as well. You know, we do now utilise a lot of very sort of targeted marketing towards those markets, whether it's tailored specifically to the proposition or it's a sort of a standard facet of the marketing mix. Beyond that, I think particularly with the kind of real estate environment we have within New Zealand now, it's really, really important that people have an eye on what kind of coverage they're getting nationally through the various channels that you're utilising within the marketing mix anyway. Whether that's a print channel, whether that's an online channel, or whether or not it's utilising some pre-existing networks or tailored networks that the agent that you're using has themselves.
To put it in. Fantastic, thank you. It's obvious you need the experts in there, and I think all our experts agree. And they're all there to look after the seller. So you've got some really good platforms there, and whether we're print, we're still recognising the online, and the online guys are still recognising the print. So you must be talking to the expert, and certainly the agent must be talking to the expert. They're there with open arms to help everybody who's involved, which is fantastic. So Andy, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. So again this week we've had some fun and taken a live mic out and asked people about the real estate market. And the first question was an easy one, and it was, if you wouldn't live in Auckland, where would you live in New Zealand?
Probably Coromandel.
So I would like to go down to Coromandel. But when you're on your own and you're getting to my age, you know, you've got to be careful where you live.
We actually just bought a house last year in Queenstown.
And Auckland, I don't see myself as going out of Auckland.
It will be Hamilton.
Why Hamilton?
Well, it's not too far from Auckland, I guess, and everyone is going there.
Queenstown.
So weren't those answers great? You'd have to agree with that. Certainly the Coromandel for summer, and then head down to Queenstown and have your skiing for winter. Now, the next question was a little bit different, and we said to people, what do you think the market will do in the near future?
Really hard to know. You can't see it keep on going up. So somewhere along the lines, it's got to either plateau or drop. I don't, because it's driven by migration to Auckland. I don't see it as dropping savagely, but it'll certainly plateau, I would say, in the next couple of years.
I think it'll keep rising. It'll keep going up and up.
I just think the prices are going to keep rising, and you want a nice house somewhere nice, close to the water and stuff. That's going to be harder to get.
I think that the price will go up, but maybe slowly than before.
It's worrying and not good. I mean, yeah, we all know there are overseas investors, but for locals, it's not looking so good, I think. Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's gonna cool down pretty quickly, but it might be cooling down, but at a slower rate that we expect.
As well, and with interest rates going down recently, it's for investors, it's a really good time for people to buy. So there's a lot of outside investment, making it harder for local people and people that want to live there.
Have to agree with those answers. I think we all feel that the prices will keep going up, but the balance is we feel that they shouldn't. So, there's some tension there in the market. Now, we're going to finish the show with the most interesting question, bit of danger here. What have your experiences been with a real estate agent?
We had a really good personal experience where the estate agent, because we were English, we didn't know the process so well here in New Zealand, so he sort of held our hand all the way through that, took us through it. He was really good.
No, been pretty good. They've been pretty good, I must admit, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, they smile a bit much, hey.
Well, there you go. Actually, I think we came out of that pretty well. All I need to learn to do now is not smile so much, but look, I just think I have too much fun. Well, thank you for being with us. I'm Wayne Maguire, and next time again, we'll have those real estate experts who will share their knowledge on how to buy and sell and have property success here in New Zealand.